Antietam National Battlefield. The Battle of Antietam, fought September 17, 1862, was one of the bloodiest days in the history of this nation. Yet, one of the most noted landmarks on this great field of combat is a house of worship associated with peace and love. And that's Dunkard Church that you see in this picture. Frederick Strickland. I'm at Antietam National Battlefield, and I'm here in the museum, and I'm gonna show you some pictures, and I'm gonna show you some artifacts from the war. Go back now. Okay, now we're looking at quote from Dr. William B. Wheeler. See that? And then there's also, let's look over here, Confederate jacket, to my utter disappointment, but that was part of history, so we have to see it. And here's some other artifacts. Look at that. These are real artifacts. I'm here at the museum. All of this is real. Look at this. These are actual swords from the Civil War. And pictures. Swing back over here. I guess this is this is a stove, a portable stove that I guess soldiers used at that time. And then this is part of the gruesome medical devices they use. Oh, look at that, scalpels. Look at those scalpels. I mean, look at this. And remember, that's part of the saw. That's the actual saw. And this is, this looks like a cane. What is this? Oh, wooden cane carved by convalescing soldier. Okay, this is a wooden cane that soldiers may have used who had legs amputated. Wow, unbelievable. Let's go down here. More Civil War artifacts. These are the bayonets that were used. Give here. Look at the various tools used for killing. Here are the rifles that were used. More battlefields. So here, let's take a look at this. Various cannon that were used. So this was this is what the artillery men would use. And up here is part of the mechanisms they would use to load the cannon with. And this is a saddle. Never seen this before. This is actually a saddle that was used during the Antietam battle. And this right here, this is perhaps one of the major battles. This is where Burnside charged the Antietam Creek, tried to cross it, and finally drove back the Confederates on the third charge, I believe. Took 3 charges to try to take the bridge, or to cross the bridge, to draw back the Confederates. They finally did, and this also repelled Lee back to Virginia, but not until after over 23,000 deaths in 3 days. We see more Civil War artifacts. Haversack. This was the haversack you see the soldiers use. Yes, this is the canteens that they used. Here's the drum. Wow. Look at the sword in the background and the drums. Okay. So I'll talk to you later. Good afternoon. Okay, now the flag you see here was a hand-sewn, one-sided flag, and it was made by General George McClellan's niece. Her name was Elizabeth, for him to take or to carry during the war, and it was used here at Antietam, of course, where McClellan is one of the last time that it was the last time he was in charge of Union forces, because Abraham Lincoln essentially fired him for not chasing Robert E. Lee all the way to Virginia. Okay, goodbye for now. Okay, I know what you're saying. That is a cool jacket, but believe it or not, this style is out of 1862. It was the coat worn by Reverend John Otto, who was the last pastor of the Dunker Church before its collapse in 1921. Look at the Nehru collar, of what we would call Nehru today. But they had a sense of style even back in the 1860s. I want to show you a cool belt buckle from the Civil War. That right there. More artifacts from the Antietam Battlefield National Museum here, where I am today. Let's take a look. Look at the chairs. This furniture here comes from the area that was here. This is a vibrant farm area here at where Antietam was fought. In fact, it's in Sharpsburg, Maryland. And so let's take a quick look. That's Roulette Farm. That's where that furniture was from. See? Okay, and let's take a look over here and see this. Wow. This is original headboard from the battlefield grave of Confederate soldier A.W. Spike, 3rd Carolina Infantry. Let's take a look at that. Shovel that soldiers carried with them to bury the dead. So, and that shovel was used at Miller's Farm, which we'll see later. And look at this. Wow, this is an early bronze entrance sign once mounted on a large upright cannon barrel. Look at that. Unbelievable. This is one of the first record books of Antietam National Battlefield. These are some of the pictures. This is not the way we bury folks at home. Of course, they were in a hurry. They couldn't take time to bury folks. They were laid dead out there for months after the shallow graves were exposed to the environment. And so they were oftentimes a few months later, their remains were exposed to the elements. But let's take a look at this further. Wow, what is that? And this is an artifact, a pyramid made by Sharpsburg resident Eugene Marks in 1889. This is President FDR, 75th anniversary, back in 1937. Let's say 75th, let me see, 75th, 1957, 75th anniversary of the Battle of Antietam. And by the way, we're just a few miles really outside Gettysburg, about 25 miles. Okay, back now. This is one of the early But anyway, you remember during HIV they made the quilts to raise money for HIV research. Well, here's an example of a quilt made by one of the residents here of Antietam, or Sharpsburg, where Antietam battle was fought over 3 days. As you know, September 16th to September 18, 1862. Bloodiest days in American history. But this is a quilt that she made, and the residents here that lived here at that time, they signed it. Let's take a look. See? 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 Okay. I'm here at Antietam Battlefield, and remember, this was perhaps one of the central points in ending slavery, because it was from this battle that lasted 3 days that brought about Emancipation Proclamation. And when John F. Kennedy came here, this is what he said when he visited Antietam National Battlefield. This is what he said. He said, Antietam symbolizes something even more important than combat heroism and military strategy. It marks a diplomatic turning point of worldwide consequences. From this point onward, our Civil War had a new dimension, which was important to the whole course of human liberty. And those are not my words, those are John F. Kennedy's words. And Melania, remember that. Next time you have to give a speech, make sure you give credit to the person's ideas. Goodbye. We're here again at Antietam National Battlefield, and what you're about to see now, just think back 153 years ago, this place was laid waste with blood from the north and the south. September 16th through September 18th, 1862, this place, Sharpsburg, Maryland, was the focal point of the Civil War. And what we're about to see, let's take a look at it now. Okay, we're back. And look up the street. We're here at Miller's Farm. This is Miller's Farm. We'll go in there in just a minute, but I want to give you a little look here. See? 17th, September 1862. Confederate 5th, or Battery C, 5th U.S. Artillery, they were located here. The Confederates were... Okay, we're back here at Antietam Battlefield, and we're here at Miller's Farm. And also there's the barn area over there. But all around this area, hell just literally broke loose. It was at here and down at Dunker's Church, where I just showed you that cornfield. This cornfield area, it's 24 acres around here, but this cornfield saw some of the most horrific fighting in this 3-day battle. For nearly 3 hours, Hooker and Mansfield Union forces battled Jackson's Confederates. And that's Stonewall Jackson, by the way. Many regiments on both sides were cut to pieces, literally cut to pieces. In fact, there was one Confederate regiment from Louisiana's brigade. They had over 60% casualties in just 30 minutes. 60% in just 30 minutes. So they must have been at the front of the lines, Jackson's line, and they were catching most of the shots that day from the north. And you can see this is 1860s. It was perfect for fighting. You see the cornfields, which about this height at that time, about that tall. There's a rabbit, if you can see, in the background. They say the eagles fly above here sometimes, but you see, provides perfect cover. And this is the area right here. And up north from me Going back the other way, to our left would be where Dunker's Church is. Okay, we're going to Bloody Sunken Lane now. Okay, goodbye for now. Okay, starting around this area, continually going north, it's going to be called the Sunken Road, Bloody Lane. And this farm lane, this street now that I'm standing on, was a ironworks or breastwork, what they called back then, for the Confederate center. Now this is where the center of the Confederates were, right in here, for about 3 hours. Over 2,000, around roughly 2,200 Confederate soldiers. Later they were reinforced. By additional troops, held off the attacks of combined Union soldiers in this area. Combined Union force numbering nearly 10,000. The Confederates was outnumbered 2, sometimes 3 to 1, which Lincoln quipped in 1862 after McClellan didn't force the retreat of, he forced the retreat of what you see out there in the foreground is Harper's Ferry. We're here at the observation tower here at the Antietam National Battlefield. And this is all of the sites. Let me show you Dunker's Church. Over that way is Dunker's Church. You can see it from here. Yeah. Dunker's Church. That's Miller's Farm. That big white area is Miller's farm, where I was at earlier, describing the horrific battle site. Dunker's Farm. You can't see it from here, but just before that is Dunker's Church. Oh, there it is. Dunker's Church is right there. Dunkirk. Dunkard is Dunkard Church. And then over here is Antietam Creek. In fact, as you can look over there, if you can see it, there's the National Cemetery. See the headstones? And look at this. Just a lovely sight. Goodbye for now. And that's my car. Okay, I'm here at Antietam National Cemetery. It's part of the National Park Service, but they left the gate open for us. Okay, and here we go. We're in. Let's take a look, brief look. Sumptuous. See? 4,776 Union soldiers lay here. More than a third of them unknown. Let's just take a look around. Looks like many of the states are represented here, though. We have 26 states, including Maryland, represented here. West Virginia. Let me see if any southern states are here. No, supposedly no southern states are represented here, but you know, in West Virginia, of course, you had Confederate sympathizers. Let's look around just for a brief moment. The mosquitoes here are just ungodly. I bet you around 8 or 9 o'clock it'd be unbearable. If you have a dog, make sure you put them in for the night. Let's just take a look here. Okay, look, all around. Monument ahead of us. Okay, goodbye for now. We must remember that the 17th of September, 1862, was the bloodiest day in American history. And we ought to be reminded that this country was founded on freedom and liberty. But it is a dream that we must always fight for future generations to come.
I always had that dream like my daddy before me, so I started writing songs, I started writing stories.